All right, we're live. If you're watching this through ubuntuonair.com, there's this chat widget below the video feed. Just enter your favorite nickname, and then you can join the conversation. You can ask all the questions you have. So this is the Ubuntu Community Q&A, and today I'm going to be joined by David Planella. He's on his way. He should be here any minute. Michael Hall unfortunately couldn't make it. He's still working on the developer portal, which we're going to talk about in a bit as well. Let me have a quick look at IRC. Yeah, we have a lot of people joining the channel, which is great. So if you want to ask questions, just make sure you prefix them with question in capital letters, so we can pick them up more easily. Let me just tell people on IRC as well. Excellent. All right. So first question is coming in already. Kata asks, how long Ubuntu will be free? Have you thought to close this project? I'm happy to say Ubuntu will always be free. That's one of the founding principles. That's one of the sentences. I mean, the Ubuntu com website has changed a lot throughout the years, but one thing always stayed the same, and that was the mission statement. And that said that Ubuntu is always going to be free of charge. It's always going to be open source. So that's never going to change. And Canonical, the company behind Ubuntu, is also doing well. So I haven't heard of any plans to shut down the project. So I think that's the first question answered already. Any more questions? All right, we'll let the queue build up a little bit. I wanted to very quickly show the work we've been doing on developer Ubuntu com. Give me 1 second. Okay, it looks like we will have to wait for David to turn up. For some reason, I can't share my screen right now. Don't know what it is. Okay. Okay, next questions. Chloe Wolfie Girl asked, do you know how the porting guide is going for Ubuntu on phones? That's a very good question. So first of all, the porting guide, that's if you go to wiki.ubuntu.com/touch, you can see the whole effort around porting Ubuntu for devices. And there's also a link to ports which already exist. So there's a bunch of people who put a lot of work into making Ubuntu work on a number of different handsets. Most of them are not officially supported because supporting them officially means a lot. So it's not just a matter of uploading a couple of packages and then having it work, but also what we do as part of the official porting is that a lot of these devices also end up in the data center. So you can imagine a huge table with a lot of phones on there, and these phones are then automatically used for automated testing purposes. So for example, when somebody proposes a merge, their code will be built and then installed on the phone, will be tested, all the tests will be run. And also we have people who do manual testing to make sure that everything works as expected. So adding a new piece of hardware into the mix, making it officially supported is quite a bit. Also, if you have to ask developers to fix fix software for a number of different handset models that also makes things a bit harder. So that's why we have the porting guide. That's why we have unofficial ports, which are maintained by the wider Ubuntu community on a best effort basis. And the porting guide, you can also find it on the wiki. The problem we've had in the last few months was that the people who have been doing the porting were also the people who were the busiest. So people who were working on the kernel, on creating images. They were working around the clock, basically, and that's why the porting guide has a few issues. If you have an interest in this, I would suggest you send an email to the Ubuntu phone mailing list so we can discuss it there. And I think we should have another session. Maybe we should just invite everyone who's interested in porting, and also the people who are responsible for all the official porting, get them together, and then we can see where the porting guide needs to be updated. I would need to check the wiki to see when the last edit was. Right now, I don't know. Okay. And we have David Planella here. How are you doing?
Hey. All right. Ready for the last hangout of the year?
Yes.
Excellent.
Definitely.
All right. Okay. I'm guessing we've done the usual, making sure that everyone is hearing us on IRC.
Yeah, we've answered a couple of questions already. I meant to show what our team had been working on in the last few weeks, but unfortunately my screen share button didn't work. So maybe you want to take people for a quick tour? What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Let me just close a couple of Firefox windows, or should I just open a new one? Okay. All right, so let me see if I can share just one window. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. I'll make that bigger. Oh yeah, okay. I can see myself even. All right, so we've been working on something very exciting this last couple of weeks. Actually, we've been a bit longer than that. Let me just log out so that I... there you go, that's better. All right, so yeah, I mean, that's actually something that we've been working for a while. But this last week's was really the final sprint. So it was really a lot of work from the community team. Actually, every single one in the team, together with some other teams in Canonical. We've been well, essentially we've launched a new developer site, new app developer site, which has the same content that the old site had, plus everything in Chinese translated as well. This ties in with the announcement that we did with China Mobile last week. Well, actually, this week. Sorry, that was all on Wednesday, but it's been so hectic that I think the days start blurring in. So essentially, this is the new website for app developers. It's got the new Ubuntu web guidelines style, so it looks much more Ubuntu-ish. You'll see that the theme has been refreshed, and what's really cool about it is that it finally has a mobile theme, meaning that you can now browse much more nicely all of the content from the developer site on your phone. So it's the old content that you all have been seeing if you have been browsing the app developer site. We're trying to promote scopes as the way to create user experiences that are innovative, and we're trying to, while still supporting it, go a bit away from the traditional model of the grid of apps on the phone. So you'll see that there's lots of content on scopes right now on the site. If you're in China, when you go to developer.ubuntu.com or to cn.developer.ubuntu.com, you'll be able to see the content directly in Chinese. But since I'm in Europe right now, let me just change the language from the button. And there you go. That's a scopes page in Chinese. You'll see that all of the site is translated. So if you're an app developer and if you're in China, you can go and check out all of the tutorials that we've got, which have been ported into Chinese. Let me actually have to read the URL because I cannot read Chinese myself. So, for example, if you go to the tutorials page on scopes, you'll see that all of the tutorials are now available in Chinese, translated. What makes it very nice as well is that this is all the same website. This is not a duplicate website. For those of you who are interested in the technology, we're using Django, and on top of that, we're using a Django CMS app, which means we get all of the localization goodness that's built into Django, meaning that having a website translated is not an afterthought, or it's not just a clone of the existing site. It's all on the same site, and we're just serving the content into different languages in this case, which is fully supported by Django and Django CMS. This opens the door for adding other languages to the site. We haven't really discussed the plans about it. I think this is a possibility. This is a nice possibility that we might want to explore. So, for example, if it would be interesting to have Spanish content for the launch, as the BQ launch is going to be quite big in Spain, it would be possible. It would technically possible to translate tutorials for app developers in Spain. Other than that, previously to doing the switch to a new site, I'm just going to switch back to English so I can actually read what I'm showing. Previous to having this, to doing the new deployment of the site, what we did as well was to add quite a lot of tutorials. So every area of app development, scope development, and web apps development is really well covered with multiple tutorials on different aspects of each one of these technologies. That's been thanks to the awesome David Cullen, who has been creating pretty much all of this content. So I think we're all really proud of the new developer site right now. Okay, Daniel, is there anything that I've forgotten to show, perhaps?
No.
On the new developer site?
No, I think that's what I would have shown as well. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I really like that we now have the possibility to translate this into all kinds of languages. I think that's brilliant. Maybe we should have like a hangout in the new year and figure out what we would need to do to support translations. Maybe that would be an approach.
Yeah, that could be a good idea. Yeah, yeah. I think with the existing community of translators, this might be a nice possibility if they're interested in translating tutorials and the rest of the site. This could be a really nice project.
Yeah.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Other than that, yeah, you can, as usual, log in and get into my apps to publish new apps and see the apps that you've got published. It's got the usual sections. We added a new section as well recently about Snappy. You all probably saw the announcements, and actually there was another one coming out today on Ubuntu Core. The Snappy Ubuntu Core being available today on Amazon EC2. So you can also use the website, the developer website, to get to know more about Snappy. And there are also a couple of guides as well on Snappy file system layout and Snappy packaging format. They are, yes, I'll say reference guides that you can check out on the Ubuntu developer site. So yeah, definitely check out the new sections. Browse the site, tell us what you think, and if you find any bugs in the content or in the site, as usual, there's the report a bug button. If you find it, there you go. There's a report a bug link at the bottom of the site, which will take you to the place to report issues about the site, and then once we get notified, then we can look at them.
Brilliant.
All right.
All right, and we have more questions. There was one, when do you think Ubuntu will get ROMs for various phones, such as the way CyanogenMod is? So, as I said earlier, we have the porting guide already, and the great thing is, even if there's small bugs in the porting guide or there's some information missing, you can always send an email to the Ubuntu Phone mailing list, and you can always chat with all the people who are putting Ubuntu Phone together on the IRC channel. Yeah, you can always ask the people and then help building the porting guide. Yeah. And the existing ports, you can find them on wiki.ubuntu.com/touch/devices. Okay, next question. What about Ubuntu for Android? Yeah, we get this question a lot. People seem to really like the idea behind it. And right now, at least as far as I know, there are no plans for continuing the work on Android. That's at least as far as I understand it. But I think with all the work being done on phones and phones getting more powerful, I think having a full desktop running on a phone is not that far off. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah. As I was saying, all of the efforts are now on the native Ubuntu phone, and also on working on convergence, and in particular, there's quite a lot being done right now on getting Unity 8 session working for the session. Some of you guys might have seen the demos a couple of weeks ago with applications already running in window mode on Unity 8 on the desktop, which looks pretty neat, and I think neat is probably an understatement in here. It just looks awesome. And yeah, and there's work going on in Mir to support that as well. So yeah, I mean, you should definitely stay tuned for updates on the developments on Unity 8 running on the desktop and running like phone and currently desktop apps natively under Unity 8. So this is something that's really exciting stuff.
Yep. Question by Andrew Hazen. How excited by the Ubuntu phone release in February are you?
I can barely contain myself, and I'm not saying it ironically. So yeah, we are all really excited. I think everyone behind the team that's been working on the phone, and everyone who's been watching this as well is really excited. And I'm sure, Andrew, you are as well, because you've been part of that team. Yeah, it's been 1.5 years, 2 years perhaps, where we've all, I mean, it's been a really hectic time. We've done huge progresses, and it's been a really exciting story to watch as well. Ever since we got the first announcement on the phone already, then to the announcement of the first hardware manufacturers that were backing the Ubuntu phone, now on the final ramp up to get this phone out. This has all been extremely exciting. So yeah. And by the way, as usual, in Ubuntu Iron Canonical, we're not just calling victory. We're continuing working to developing even more innovative and exciting stuff. So you'll see work going on different fronts. I've mentioned Snappy already. I've mentioned conversions as well, and next year there will be more developments on the phone side of things as well. So yes, extremely excited. So it's really cool to have a phone. Well, essentially, it's really cool to have something that's in the public as already.
Yeah, same here. Just looking back 10 years, I mean, I got involved in Ubuntu pretty early, and back in the days, you were lucky if your Wi-Fi was working, and just the way we've come today, it's just incredible that there's going to be phones out, and I absolutely wouldn't believe it if I hadn't been using this phone for quite a while already. It's just incredible, and I very much look forward to having Ubuntu phones out there for sale, because a lot of my friends, even not the hardcore techie friends, they all look forward to Ubuntu phones being out there, so can't wait. All right, more questions. What progress plans on an email calendar PIM solution that integrates with the desktop and phone? Question by Ray Q. So one thing that's already happening is Deco. Deco is a Trojica-based email client. You can run it on the phone. You can run it on the desktop, and it works really well. I really like it. What else? There's a calendar app.
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, what we do what the approach that we've got right now is, I mean, first of all, what Daniel already said, and in terms of the calendar, we do have a standalone calendar app that already notifies you of upcoming events, and where you can, essentially add your events as you would expect from a regular calendar. In terms of an integrated PIM solution that includes everything, I think that this might be a good idea to explore, to have more integration between the two applications. So I think, other than saying that we have no plans right now, I still think it's a good idea. So perhaps you could suggest some of the things that this new integrated client could do. We've got the Ubuntu Core Apps mailing list, or the Ubuntu-phone at list.launchpad.net, where things like that, like sharing ideas on applications and on the direction of the core apps, might be a good place to start.
Yeah. For the calendar, unless I'm mistaken, we use Google Calendar, or are there other supported?
Yeah, what we have right now is we have, as a backend for the calendar, we use EDS, the Evolution Data Server, which is the same service that we use for the desktop. So on Ubuntu desktop, when you see events showing up on your calendar, they come from EDS. So the calendar supports theoretically anything that EDS supports. Right now, we've settled on adding Google Calendar support for the Ubuntu Calendar app, but there's no technical reason why we couldn't add other backends that are supported by EDS. As usual, it's about focusing on the essential features, given the participants that we've got with the development of the app. But if anyone wants to jump in and lead the effort to develop a new backend, that would be extremely welcome.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to all the crazy ideas people come up with, like all the stuff you want to happen. For example, when you plug in your phone to your desktop and syncing whatever. Can't wait. Like it's going to be interesting once phones are out there. Question from Manic Panic. Why is the Ubuntu phone launch in Europe only have 1 GB of RAM? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think questions about the so we're the experts on delivering the software for these phones. We've got teams who talk to the hardware manufacturers, but in terms of hardware specs and why a particular model appears on a particular country, I think that's a question that we generally have to forward to manufacturers.
Yeah, I think that's a fair answer. We often call the phones that are going to be out there Ubuntu phones, but it's actually BQ's launch. It's Meizu's launch with the particular phone. It's like buying a laptop from Dell or from Toshiba or somebody else with Ubuntu pre-installed. You would basically ask them, like, can I have more RAM? But what's wrong? Like, can I change this? Can I have it in pink? Or you would ask them, basically. But the good news is that 1 GB is not too bad on the phone because of a lot of choices which have been made. For example, the app life cycle that makes it easy for the phone to work with 1 GB of RAM, and just fine.
Yeah, how much RAM does the Nexus 4 have? I was just trying to look that one up, because I mean that's the one that I'm using as my daily phone as well, and it's working pretty well.
I can look it up. Yeah,
I'm just looking at it. Don't worry, I'm just looking at it myself. But anyway, yeah, as Daniel is saying, with the app life cycle, this makes it much more lightweight, or this makes Ubuntu much more lightweight.
Yeah. All right. Question from Asanka Sri Lanka. Is Ubuntu Edge is end? So yeah, Ubuntu Edge is something that a lot of people wanted, but it didn't get the green light. It didn't get the funding, so the Ubuntu Edge is not happening. But a lot of the ideas in the Ubuntu Edge, I'm sure, are going to come to a lot of phones out there. So yeah, there are currently no plans to have an Ubuntu or Canonical phone. Another question from Ubuntu fan. There will be a unified packaging system for Ubuntu instead of duplicating work with deb, click, and snappy. So, the good news is there's no duplication, because click and snappy are reusing a lot of the good work that has been put into deb packages. Deb packages have been around for, I was just about to say centuries, but that's not quite true, decades. And debs are still what we want to use for the system. They are a lot of the hard work to fix all the bugs, all the crazy corner cases. We've put that work into deep package already, so we're not going to get rid of deep package. There's no reason. It's also it's a good solution to putting together an operating system. All the problems you have in terms of upgrades, replacing files, making sure there's no file conflicts, all that kind of stuff is solved already. It works well for us. of course, we can always improve the tools, make them easier to use, have more documentation, have them be faster, all that kind of stuff. Great. But we're there. We're happy with what we have. And the good news is, like Debian, the project we are founded on, they're also not going to change to anything else. So that said, for creating an operating system, for delivering apps, we found that deep package or deb packages weren't the best thing. It's like too much can go wrong. It's quite a steep learning curve for somebody who just wants to publish their app to Ubuntu. So we chose to go with Click instead. And Snappy and Click are very, very similar. There's almost no, there's a few differences, but not too many. So I think what you can take away from this is that deb packages for the system, for the operating system, make sense, and for people who create content, for people who create apps, scopes, and Snappy services, and so on, there's a different format for them. Okay.
Cool. All right. So we've got another question from Chloe Wolfigel. Question: will Unity 8 and Mir be good enough for daily use in 15.04, or would it be advised to wait for 15.10 or 16.04? I think you'll see a lot of developments going on 15.04. We're confident that you'll be able to use to see a preview of Unity and Mir. But it's difficult to tell, at least for myself, who is not involved in day-to-day desktop development or the development of the technologies themselves, to say exactly what it will look like. Just rest assured that we're this is one of the big focuses right now. So you'll definitely be able to use the Unity 8 session, and in terms of when it will be ready, I think this is something that we will see in the upcoming months.
Yep. So as David said, 15.04, Unity 8 is not going to be the default, but I was actually thinking of at some time in the new year to at least do a week of dog fooding to just see how well it works, to file bugs, and just generally see where we stand.
Yeah,
be interesting.
And I think it was Nick who wanted to put Nicholas Cax from the community team wanted to put together some instructions on how to run Unity 8 session for testing. At this point, also feedback is very welcome, and testing, as Daniel is saying, is very, very useful. So if you want to be an early adopter, or help with testing, I'd say at this point just get in touch with us, and then we can get you in touch with the folks working on Unity 8.
Brilliant. All right, question by Zachary I123. I only just bought a Nexus 4 to be my Ubuntu phone, and it's great. Now that we know some other Ubuntu phones are coming, will there still be good support for my new Nexus 4 Ubuntu? I can't really say what support is going to be like, what kind of guaranteed support, but the good news is a lot of developers are using the Nexus 4. The Nexus 4 is in the data center where I explained it earlier, where all the automated tests are running, all the integration tests are running. So chances are pretty good that your experience is going to be good.
Yeah. I think the Nexus 4 is going to. I think there won't be any changes, at least in the short term. And as Daniel is saying, also we've invested quite a lot of infrastructure in the Nexus 4 tests. As in the Nexus 4 being the hardware reference device, and this, I mean, at this time there are no changes planned yet. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're a developer, if you're using the Nexus 4 as a development phone, it's a really nice hardware to continue working on Ubuntu or writing apps for Ubuntu.
Absolutely. Okay, question by Free Fish. Can we one day install Ubuntu phone and develop app for it without running Ubuntu? For example, if we run another distro.
Yeah, there are. Oh, sorry, you're going to say that now?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So essentially, what you need to develop apps on Ubuntu, what you need to develop apps for Ubuntu is the Ubuntu SDK, which includes the Ubuntu emulator. So if another distro supports the Ubuntu SDK, which is essentially Qt Creator with the Ubuntu SDK plugin on top and the emulator, then that'd be possible. So as many things or many projects which are part of Ubuntu, if there's enough interest and someone that's leading the effort of doing these ports, it is absolutely possible. However, at this point, what we're focused on the SDK itself is to make it sure that it's a first-class editor for creating apps for Ubuntu. So there's no work right now on porting it onto other distros. However, this is a open source, and B, it's using a very, very widespread framework, Qt. So it should be entirely possible and probably not too hard to port to another distro. I think it might even work on Mint, but I'm not sure. I remember some app developers mentioning that they had tried to run it on Mint, but in any case, it can be ported. It just needs enough interest for someone to lead this effort of porting it to another distro.
Exactly. Yeah, if you run another distro, just get in touch with the people who are working on it. It's all open source. They can grab the source, build it for the distro, or tower it up, or whatever their form of distribution is. Get it in there. You're talking to Ubuntu developers, so we're probably not going to spend a lot of time to get things working for another distro, but get in touch. Okay, question from Chloe Wolfie Girl. I heard that installing deb files on the phone would break the updater, but it seems like a bit of a problem if your phone's meant to be your desktop. Has anyone thought about that issue and ways around it? So, what we did with the phone was quite a bit of a change. On the phone, we don't have app running in the background. It's not like we get the list of all the packages which need updating and then install the packages one by one. That's not what's happening on the phone. Instead, we use system image-based updates, and these are basically like binary diffs between different stages, and these are installed on the phone. And what's different about it is that the system is read-only. So if you don't flick the right switch, you can't even make changes to the system. This is good because most of the users, they're not really interested in changing anything, and things are not going to break there. That makes things a lot easier. If you choose to basically go into, let's call it developer mode, you could do that. You could make changes, you could install packages, and that's what a lot of developers do, especially those who are working on the system, who need to debug it and so on. They obviously make changes to the system, otherwise it wouldn't work. Obviously, if we want the desktop to work the same way, that's going to bring some challenges, but I don't think we have them all figured out yet. Or do you know anything new?
No, that's pretty much all I know as well. I know that there's been these discussions and that the desktop will have to be taken into account, but yeah, ultimately the idea, regardless of the implementation, is that there will be this separation between the system and applications, so that app developers can submit updates for their applications in a way that's very flexible and in a way that doesn't require updating the whole system.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, another use case where this makes a lot of sense is the cloud, for example. But it's obvious that be emerged because in the cloud you have a lot of systems which take care of one specialized task. For example, you have one system where you have a database running. You have another system where you have load balancer running, for example. So in those cases, it would be you would probably need to invest some time to get it up and running, but you could have these image-based updates. You wouldn't have to mess around with updating all the different nodes, but you could then install these confined apps, which would then take care of handling data or whatever else they do. So in that use case is also going to be more straightforward than the desktop, where we all have 20 years of experience tinkering around with our desktop and installing all kinds of packages. So that case is obviously a bit more difficult. But yeah, I've talked to Michael Vogt, somebody who we should really get on again. We've talked about this a lot of times, and he still sees a chance to have some file system overlays and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm sure it's possible, and Ubuntu is going to first to have it.
Cool. All right, there's another question from Caracas. Aren't Facebook notifications broken? I never get them. I'm assuming you mean Facebook notifications on the phone, right? So if that's the case, I don't use Facebook. I haven't set it up for notification on the phone, but I've got notifications from other apps. So notifications themselves do work. In terms of Facebook notifications, what I would try perhaps is to log out and log back into the in system settings into your Facebook account and see if that solves the issue. I remember them not working a while ago, but I say I don't use it on my phone, so I'm not sure. I think the best thing on this one is to after the Hangout to ask on the #ubuntu-app-devel channel, and some folks can help you there.
Brilliant. There was also the question from Azanka. Have you released Ubuntu Edge on Asian countries? No, there is no Ubuntu Edge. It was a concept. That's it. So Wealthy Girl asked, will everyone at Canonical have a Merry Christmas? I hope so. I don't know if everyone is going to celebrate Christmas or not, but a lot of people are going to have a very well-deserved break. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely will enjoy my Christmas, and I think a lot of other folks will do. It's been a really exciting year, and I'm really happy with not only what the phone is looking like, but also the that we're firing on all cylinders. Essentially, we're innovating in different fields. and Ubuntu is going strong. I'm also looking forward to the new year to start talking about the plans for the community team as well. One thing we'd like to do is to spend more time working on other areas of the Ubuntu community, not just app development. There's been quite a lot of discussions, quite a lot of threads going on these last few weeks, which we need to tie up and come up with some plans on what we want to do. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, any news that the new year will bring.
Yeah, same here. Speaking of the new year, the new year is not starting at the same time across the world, and we're talking about time zones. But so you were asking about Christmas earlier. The people in China, the canonical people from China, I don't think they're going to take a break now because their new year is going to start in February. And maybe we should also talk a little bit about why we set up this developer page in Chinese.
Yeah, definitely. So you will have, sorry. By now, I think if you've been if you've been following the Ubuntu channels, you will have heard about China Mobile. China Mobile is the biggest. Sorry, I'm just reading IRC. So China Mobile is one of the biggest mobile partners in the world, and it's really big in Asia and in China. And it's been a very huge announcement that they're backing the Ubuntu phone, and that we're going to be working with them hand in hand, essentially. To build a community of app developers and to work on joint events as well. You might have seen on insights.ubuntu.com and in other places in the Ubuntu world that we're going to be launching together this Ubuntu Developer Innovation Contest, where folks will have the opportunity to write apps and scopes for Ubuntu with exciting prizes, and you should definitely stay tuned you should definitely stay tuned to new updates on this. We're gonna start running workshops and hearing more about the updates. And the developer side will be a key point of resources for developing apps and scopes in China. So yeah, it's all coming together, and it's yeah. Sorry, I think that we've been mentioning this throughout the whole call, but there's so many things going on, which is all really exciting. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, there's some discussion on IRC right now if one day Ubuntu would also come to the smartwatch and the toaster and everything else, and if that wouldn't
Toasters definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think we do need the Ubuntu toaster.
And if that wouldn't spread the developers too thin, so there's a lot of discussion and speculation going on, which is great. Yeah. Do you want to say anything more?
That's it.
If not, I will just pick the next question.
Okay. There's another one. What are you doing for Christmas? I myself, well, generally I live abroad or in a different country from where my family lives. So I generally travel back to Catalonia for holidays. This year, though, I'm going to take it a bit easier than usual, and we're going to stay here in Stuttgart in Germany, and have, I think, in years, one of the first relaxed Christmas holidays without traveling around and visiting all sorts of people. So looking forward for a change. So yeah, celebrating here. What are you doing, Daniel?
Yeah, for me it's going to be a bit different. Right now I'm at my parents' place. This is where I grew up. This is Trier in Germany. For Christmas, I'm going to be with my girlfriend's family in Bavaria, and for New Year's we're going to be in Berlin again. So there's going to be some driving across Germany happening.
So yeah, we're both going to be in Germany, but doing the opposite things.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So I don't think we can answer the question from Zanka. What is the plans on Ubuntu next year? I think right now everyone is just looking to get the phone out, and we're going to take it from there. And there was one question by RayQ. Security. How will GNU PG be implemented into the phone experience? Is that too open-ended? I don't think there's any plans right now to use GNU PG. I don't know. I mean, obvious case would be to use it for Deco, or for any other email app really, but I'm not quite sure you want your private key on your phone. I don't know. I probably wouldn't want to carry it around with me all the time and leave it in a bar somewhere or get it stolen. I don't know.
Yeah, but Daniel, in theory, it should. I'm not sure if we've got GNU PG on the ARM ports. So in theory, if you're a developer, you should be able to use it already, right?
Right.
I say I don't see the use yet myself,
No.
but in theory, you should be able to use it, I think, already.
Right. And we do have something which checks like the updates from the image server, so they are checked already, but that might be a checksum check. I don't know. No, I'm sure they are signed. I'm sure they are signed. So GNU PG should even be installed on the phone. It's up to you. Go and integrate it somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Talk to Jamie and Mark and all the other heroes from the security team. They've been doing an absolutely fantastic job this year. It's just great. That's one of the things I really liked in our team, because I think we helped a lot to bring the app developer story together, which, like, we were involved with a lot of different teams. For example, when it came to app confinement, I mean, the actual work was done by the security team, but we often helped, bridge between different teams, or the people who worked on the app store, or people who wrote documentation or the UI toolkit and so on. So it was really nice to see how everyone worked very hard to bring all of this together. And yeah, the security team, they've been everywhere. That's one thing I noticed, at least.
Cool. And yeah, you're mentioning RayQ, mentioning the terminal. So definitely do use the terminal. It's looking really, really good. It's one of the core apps, and it's really a pleasure to use on the phone. And yeah, who would have thought that we'd be talking about terminals on the phone?
Yeah, I didn't expect it either.
All right, so we're coming up to the end of the last community Q&A of the year. It seems we've gone through all of the questions on IRC. So if you've got any burning questions, any burning issues, just use. You can use the last 5 minutes to squeeze them in. Perhaps we can get to them, and if not, you can find us on IRC in any case, and we can answer them there too.
Yeah, have a great break. whatever you're going to do, if you celebrate Christmas or not, you're going to see me next year.
Yeah.
All the
All
best,
right.
and thanks a lot, everyone.
All right. Have a nice holidays, everyone, or have a nice break if you're celebrating Christmas.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.